Well, if Dunedin's debt was our household overdraft, we'd probably be quite happy right now because we are ahead of projections as to the debt that Dunedin City itself has and where we should be. Let's have a look at what Councillor Richard Thompson said. It's reported in the OET. He says Council's debt at the end of June dropped to 2.1725 million. This was 30.6 million below budget and well below its target of 230 million by 2021. So what are we? We're $15 million ahead of our projection of getting rid of debt. As I said, if it was your overdraft and you're expected to be at $1,000 and you're at 800, you'd be pretty happy.
I would be pretty
happy. It'd be a good
happy.
result.
It'd be great. And money that has been in the bank is going to be factored towards debt repayment, but I do have an issue with this. I'm saying, aren't there better things to do? What about homeless shelters, and why is everybody focusing on South Dunedin?
Well, that's interesting you would say that. So Councillor Ginty McTavish has asked the question, because we're ahead of ourselves paying off the debt, should we put that into infrastructure?
Yeah.
And so that's what you're asking about South. Yeah, it's interesting. This conversation around South Dunedin has come up quite a lot in the last few weeks.
People seem to want us to throw vast amounts of money at a part of town that, I mean, I can't see that it's really worth saving. It's not Venice, for goodness sake. You only have to see pictures from 100 years ago of Chinese grocery growers, working in swampland to see what South Dunedin's future looks like. I just can't see the point in saving it.
So that will be a controversial statement to many in South Dunedin.
I live in South Dunedin.
So when you say it's not worth saving, are you suggesting that there was reports out last week, we reported on it last week as well, that it could be $1 billion just to fix up the stormwater of Dunedin?
Yeah.
That if we're going to spend that kind of money, perhaps alternatives are what we should be looking at?
Is it really worth that?
I find it interesting as well. The other thing about the spending of the money and looking at the infrastructure, specifically the stormwater, is we're talking about them fixing it up to handle a 1 in 10 year event. Now, research out of America this week has talked about weather cycles within America and a 1 in 500 year event. So you think, well, that's going to only happen twice a millennia.
Yeah.
In the last 12 months in America, there have been 8 1 in 500 year events. So I think about setting up the stormwater in Dunedin and other infrastructure for a 1 in 10 year event. If America is seeing a 1 in 500 year event, let's say every month and a half, how often are we going to see a 1 in 10 year event? How often are we going to see a 1 in 20 year event, which the stormwater won't then handle? And I mean, I'm not going to go quite so far as to let's just get rid of it, but we said it once before and we'll say it again. The conversation has to be on the table of what we do with the money that we're going to drive into the infrastructure. Is it better spent, fixing up something that's going to fall over again, or is it better spent kind of not saying that people's lives are losses, but cutting the losses, moving away from the area of Dunedin that is on reclaimed land and finding alternatives? And I guess that's sort of what you're asking as well.
Pay off debt and head for the hills.